Okay, so is Jesus God? That's a question that often comes up whenever people are discussing Christianity, whether they are believers and want to understand it better, or whether they are unbelievers just trying to check things out. So does Jesus go around claiming to be God? Well, he doesn't tend to use that language. He just doesn't show up and says, hey, I'm God. But when you read the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, you see that Jesus is doing certain things and he's saying certain things to make it absolutely clear we understand who he is, that he is in no way claiming to be just a prophet or some sort of angelic apparition. He's not Gabriel. He's not some sort of guru. The things Jesus says are so completely outlandish that it doesn't make sense unless we assume that he is on the creator side of the creator-creation divide. The terms Jesus uses, the language he uses, he takes for himself the same terms, the same images that we use in the Old Testament. Now, let me give you a couple examples. Okay, we've just been going through John's Gospel. And in it, there's a few things that happen. Well, here you have this one story of a guy coming to Jesus and saying, Jesus, please come heal my son. Jesus, Jesus was in Cana, and this man came all the way from Capernaum, that was about 15 or so miles away. And he says, please come and get my son. And Jesus, at first he says, kind of puts the man off, and almost like he says no. But then the man digs deeper, and Jesus says, I'm not going to go with you, because the man assumed Jesus was like a miracle worker, like maybe Elijah or Elisha, and maybe he'd come and do some sort of ceremony and be present and do something strange over the body, and the boy would get better. But Jesus, he says, come. And he goes, no, I'm not going to come with you. Go, he's fine. And it says that the man believed. Now, for the Jewish people, there was just there was nothing in the history of Israel for someone just to speak healing into existence. Like the very few miracle workers that there were in Israel's history, they had to go, they had to be present, they had to do a ceremony, yada, yada, yada. They had to lay on the body and all sorts of stuff. And Jesus said, no. I'm just going to speak, and he's going to be better. Well, up until then, who's the only one in Scripture who speaks and things happen? Well, that's God. Let there be light, and there was light, and God speaks things into creation. That's unique. That's a prerogative of God. And a man becomes a believer. Well, let's look what else happens. Here, in where Jesus is accused in the very next chapter, in chapter 5. In chapter 5 of John's Gospel, you see, he heals a man again, and he says, now he commands him, pick up your mat and walk. And the religious leaders, they say, whoa, wait a minute. You're not supposed to be carrying your mat on the Sabbath. On the Sabbath, we don't work, and you're moving furniture around. And the guy says, well, you have to take it up with this guy. He commanded me to go do it. So they come and they get to Jesus, and they say, hey, Jesus, human beings aren't supposed to work on the Sabbath. It's the Sabbath. This is where God gives us the day off. He commands us to not do any work. You see, according to Jewish thought, only God can work on the Sabbath. On the Sabbath, people still are born, they still die, the sun rises and sets, and there's seasons, and the universe is still functioning. So the Jews understood that the one person who could work on the Sabbath, that was God. But human beings, they did not. And so Jesus, when they say, Jesus, we're going to persecute you because you're working on the Sabbath, and only God can work on the Sabbath, Jesus says, yeah, okay. What? What? yeah, okay. God can work on the Sabbath. So the Son is doing everything that the Father is doing. Jesus claims to be the Son, that is God, responding to the Father, that is God. He fully affirms that, yes, human beings are supposed to observe the Sabbath. But he is Lord over the Sabbath. He is the Son doing everything that the Father is doing. He says this right here in John 5. He says, everything that the Father does, the Son does. So you should be amazed in him. Who does that? Like maybe in your life, you stumble and do one or two godly things occasionally in your life. But the Son does everything that the Father does. God is doing a billion godly-like things all throughout the universe. And Jesus says the Son is doing everything that the Father is doing, totally united. He's the perfect image. It's like a mirror. When I look into this camera, this little screen back at me, and I wave, I see the screen waving back. You'd get this when you look in a mirror. When you look in a mirror, whatever, funny face you make in the mirror, it makes it right back at you. He's saying that's the language Jesus used to describe his relationship with the Father. That everything the Father does, the Son does. Only the Son's not a two-dimensional, flat, personless image. It's a full reflection of who the Father is. And then Jesus says this. Well, why is Jesus doing all these things? Why did he come to earth? Jesus says this, so that all people will honor the Son just as they honor the Father. Jesus says, I'm here so that everyone will honor the Son just like in the same way that they honor the Father. What human being can speak this way? What angel can speak this way? What created being can speak this way? We're talking about the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We're talking about YHWH God here. The one who says, I will not share my glory with another. That no one should glory in my presence. That every knee should bow to me alone. And you're saying, yep, and me. And me. I'm part of that. I am part and parcel. The Father acts and I acts, and from all eternity, that's the way it has been. I've been the eternal expression of the Father. And you get these all throughout. This is why Jesus cannot be a great man. Either Jesus is far less than a great man, and he's a bit of a lunatic going around claiming things he should not be, and a blasphemer, or he's far more than a great man. He is very God, very light, a very light, penetrated from the eternal into the temporal, the infinite into the finite. He is God with us. And this is language. Jesus makes himself distinct from the Father and yet one with the Father and of the same nature as the Father in everything. So did Jesus claim to be God? Well, he didn't quite use that terminology that we might use in the 21st century West, but you read the things he said, the things he did were uniquely things in Hebrew scriptures that belonged to God alone, and he claimed without an ounce of apology for himself as well. Hope you like this. If you do, please like and subscribe, and we'll have some more Bible study material coming out.